Hi, dear friend. You've found a quiet place to rest and dream. Tonight we'll journey into the quiet secrets of Earth, the blue jewel spinning softly in the velvet dark of space. Let yourself settle now. There is nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. Just rest here, breathing gently as we drift together through the story of this world beneath your feet. The earth holds mysteries older than memory, and tonight we'll explore them slowly, peacefully, with all the time in the universe. Close your eyes if you'd like. Feel the surface beneath you, solid and sure. This is Earth, holding you as it has held every living thing for billions of years. You are safe here. You are home. Take a breath in, slowly, and release it, letting the day fall quietly behind. Tonight, we wander through the secrets of this planet, through time and stone and water, through the gentle mysteries that unfold in silence all around us. You don't need to remember everything. You don't even need to stay awake. Just let the words wash over you like waves on a distant shore, soft and rhythmic and endlessly patient. Let's begin. Earth is 4.5 billion years old. That's a number almost too large to hold in the mind, so instead, imagine it as a long, slow breath that has been unfolding since the very beginning. A breath that began when dust and gas swirled together in the darkness, pulled by gravity's gentle insistence, gathering and warming and finally igniting into a young molten world. In those earliest days, Earth was nothing like the place you rest upon. It was a sphere of liquid rock, glowing red and orange beneath a sky thick with steam and ash. There was no ground to stand on, no air to breathe, no ocean to reflect the stars, just heat and motion and the patient work of cooling. But even then, even in that fierce beginning, the seeds of something beautiful were already present. Time moved slowly. Millions of years passed like heartbeats in the dark. The surface of the planet began to cool, and as it cooled, it hardened. The first solid crust formed, thin and fragile, floating on the molten ocean beneath. And then, after countless ages, something extraordinary happened. Water arrived. No one knows exactly where all the water came from. Some of it may have been trapped inside the rocks of the young Earth, released as the planet cooled and exhaled its ancient vapors. But much of it, scientists believe, came from beyond, from comets and asteroids that rained down from the outer solar system, carrying frozen water across the void and delivering it here to this waiting world. Imagine that. The water you drink, the water that fills the oceans and rivers and clouds, the water that makes up most of your body, may have traveled across space itself. It fell from the sky as a gift from the cosmos, a slow and patient delivery that took millions of years to complete. And as the water gathered, as the steam condensed and the rains began to fall, Earth transformed. The rains fell for thousands of years, maybe millions. They filled the low places, vast basins in the cooling crust, and the first oceans were born. Those ancient seas were different from the ones we know today. They were warmer, more acidic, filled with dissolved minerals from the rocks, but they were oceans, deep and dark and brimming with potential. Life, as far as we know, began in those waters. It's difficult to say exactly when or how it happened. The earliest evidence of life on Earth dates back nearly 3.5 billion years. preserved in ancient rocks as tiny fossils and chemical signatures. These first living things were simpler than anything alive today, just single cells floating in the warm shallows, drawing energy from the chemicals around them. But they were alive. They grew, they reproduced, they changed. And in changing, they began to change the world itself. For billions of years, life remained microscopic. Single-celled organisms filled the oceans, invisible to any eye that might have looked. Some of them learned to harness the light of the sun, to split water molecules, and release oxygen as a waste product. This process, called photosynthesis, would eventually transform the entire planet. Oxygen, which is so essential to you now, was once a poison. The early atmosphere had almost none of it. But as these tiny photosynthetic cells multiplied, they slowly filled the air and water with oxygen, changing the chemistry of the entire world. It took hundreds of millions of years, but eventually Earth's atmosphere became rich with this reactive gas, and life had to adapt or perish. Many forms of life died, but others learned to use oxygen, to breathe it in and burn it for energy. And with that energy, life exploded into new forms, new possibilities, new expressions of existence. You don't need to stay awake for all of this. Let the story carry you gently, like a current in those ancient oceans. If sleep comes, let it come. You are safe here, drifting through deep time where nothing is rushed and everything unfolds in its own perfect rhythm. Earth's surface is always moving, always changing, though most of the motion is too slow for any single lifetime to perceive. The ground beneath you seems solid and still, but it floats on a deeper layer of rock that flows like honey, heated by the planet's molten core. This slow, constant motion shapes continents and mountains, opens oceans and closes them again, recycling the surface of the planet over hundreds of millions. Scientists call this process plate tectonics. The Earth's crust is broken into large pieces like a cracked eggshell, and these pieces drift across the surface, pushed and pulled by the churning heat below. Where they collide, mountains rise. Where they pull apart, new ocean floor is born. And where one plate slides beneath another, old crust is dragged down into the depths to melt and be remade. This movement is the Earth's way of breathing, of renewing itself, of ensuring that the planet remains dynamic and alive even after billions of years. The continents you know today have not always been in their current positions. 200 million years ago, all the land on Earth was joined together in a single massive supercontinent called Pangaea. If you could have stood on its shores, you might have walked from what is now South America to Africa without ever crossing an ocean. But even then, the plates were shifting, and Pangaea was beginning to break apart. Slowly, over tens of millions of years, the supercontinent fractured and drifted. The pieces moved away from each other, and new oceans opened between them. The Atlantic Ocean, which now separates Europe and Africa from the Americas, did not exist before Pangaea broke apart. It was born from that slow separation, growing wider year by year, centimeter by centimeter, as the continents continue to drift even now. And they are still moving. North America is moving away from Europe at about the speed your fingernails. It's imperceptible in a human lifetime, but over millions of years, it reshapes the entire map of the world. Breathe gently. Feel the stillness of this moment, even as you know, deep down, that everything is always in motion. Even in rest, even in sleep, you are part of this ancient. Mountains rise and mountains fall. The Himalayas, the tallest mountain range on Earth, are still growing. They formed when the Indian subcontinent, carried northward by the motion of tectonic plates, collided with Asia. The collision is still happening. India is still pushing northward, and the Himalayas are still rising a few millimeters each year, pushed upward by the immense forces hidden beneath the ground. But even as they rise, they are also being worn away. Wind and water and ice erode the peaks, carving valleys and carrying sediment down to the plains and rivers and eventually to the sea. Every mountain, no matter how tall, is slowly being ground back down to the level of the land around it. In time, the Himalayas themselves will be worn away, reduced to gentle hills, and then to nothing, their stones scattered across the world. But new mountains will rise. The cycle never ends. Earth is patient, and it has all the time it needs to build and break and build again. Let your thoughts drift like clouds across those distant peaks. You don't need to hold on to anything, just let the story unfold, quiet and steady, like a river flowing toward the. Beneath the continents, beneath the oceans, deep within the earth, there is a core of solid iron and nickel, nearly as hot as the surface of the sun. It's surrounded by a layer of liquid metal, churning and flowing, driven by heat, rising from even deeper within. This motion generates Earth's magnetic field, an invisible shield that surrounds the planet and protects it from the solar wind, the stream of charged particles flowing outward from the sun. Without this magnetic field, Earth's atmosphere might have been stripped away long ago, blown off into space by the force of the solar wind. But the magnetic field deflects those particles, guiding them around the planet, keeping the air and water safely bound to the surface. It's a silent guardian, unseen but essential, woven into the very structure of the world. Sometimes when conditions are right, you can see the magnetic field at work. Near the poles, where the field lines dip down toward the surface, charged particles from the sun spiral along those lines and collide with molecules in the upper atmosphere, causing them to glow. This glow is the aurora, the northern and southern lights, curtains of green and red and purple shimmering in the night sky. The auroras are a visible reminder that Earth is not isolated in space. It's connected to the sun, to the solar system, to the wider cosmos. And yet it remains sheltered, protected, held safe within the embrace of its own magnetic presence. You are held just as safely now. Rest here. Let the universe cradle you. Water covers more than 70% of Earth's surface, and yet we call this place Earth, not ocean. Perhaps that's because we live on the land, and the land is what we know best. But the oceans are the true heart of this planet, the birthplace, the regulator of climate, the vast reservoir that makes everything else possible. The ocean is not uniform. It has layers, currents, regions of light and dark, warmth and cold. Near the surface, where sunlight penetrates, the water is full of life. Phytoplankton, tiny drifting plants, capture the sun's energy and form the base of the entire marine food web. They produce more than half of the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere, more than all the forests and grasslands combined. Every second breath you take comes from the ocean. Deeper down, the light fades. Below about 200 meters, it's too dark for photosynthesis. This is the twilight zone, a vast, dimly lit realm where strange creatures drift, many of them producing their own light through chemical reactions in their bodies. Bioluminescence is common here, a way to attract prey, to communicate, to confuse predators in the darkness. Deeper still, beyond 1,000 meters, the ocean is completely black. No sunlight reaches this far. The pressure is immense, hundreds of times greater than at the surface, enough to crush most human-made vessels. And yet, life thrives even here in the cold and dark and stillness. There are fish with enormous eyes, adapted to catch the faintest glimmer of bioluminescent light. There are translucent jellyfish drifting like ghosts. There are crustaceans and worms and octopuses, each uniquely suited to the extreme conditions of the deep. At the very bottom of the ocean, in the deepest trenches, the water is nearly 7 miles deep. The Mariana Trench in the western Pacific is the deepest place on Earth, its floor more than 36,000 feet below the surface. If you placed Mount Everest at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, its peak would still be more than a mile underwater. And even there, at the uttermost depth, life exists. Creatures live in the sediment and swim through the black water, enduring conditions we once thought impossible for life to survive. The ocean connects to itself in a vast, slow circulation. Warm water flows along the surface from the equator toward the poles, carrying heat with it, moderating the climate. Cold water sinks at the poles and flows along the deep ocean floor back toward the equator, where it eventually rises again, completing a cycle that can take 1,000 years or more. This is the ocean's heartbeat, slow and vast and essential to the balance of the entire planet. Let yourself drift now, like a current in those deep waters. You don't need to swim or strive. Just float, effortless and calm, held by the great rhythms of the world. Earth's atmosphere is a thin envelope of gas, held close to the surface by gravity. If the Earth were the size of an apple, the atmosphere would be no thicker than the apple's skin. And yet within that fragile layer is everything necessary for life as we know it. Oxygen to breathe, nitrogen to stabilize the air, water vapor to form clouds and rain, gases that trap just enough heat to keep the surface warm, but not so much that it becomes unbearable. The atmosphere is divided into layers. The lowest layer, where we live and where weather happens, is called the troposphere. It extends up about 7 miles at the poles and about 12 miles at the equator. Above it is the stratosphere, home to the ozone layer, which absorbs harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Higher still are the mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere, each with its own characteristics, each fading gradually into the vacuum of space. The boundary between Earth and space is not sharp. There's no wall, no edge. the atmosphere simply becomes thinner and thinner until there's almost nothing left. At about 60 miles up, the air is so thin that it can no longer support conventional flight. This is often considered the edge of space, though a few wisps of atmosphere extend far beyond, reaching hundreds of miles above the surface. The sky above you is blue because of the way sunlight interacts with the atmosphere. Sunlight is made of all colors mixed together, and when it enters the atmosphere, it scatters in all directions. Blue light scatters more than other colors because it has a shorter wavelength, so the sky appears blue to our eye. At sunrise and sunset, the sun is low on the horizon, and its light passes through the more atmosphere. Most of the blue light is scattered away before it reaches your eyes, leaving the reds and oranges and pinks to paint the sky. The atmosphere is always in motion. Air flows from high pressure to low pressure, creating wind. The sun heats the surface unevenly, warm at the equator and cooler at the poles, and this temperature difference drives enormous circulation patterns that distribute heat around the globe. Warm air rises near the equator, flows toward the poles at high altitude, cools and sinks, then flows back toward the equator along the surface. These are the trade winds, the westerlies, the polar easterlies, great rivers of air that have shaped human history and the migration of life. Clouds form when warm, moist air rises and cools, and the water vapor condenses into tiny droplets. These droplets are so small and light that they float in the air, suspended by updrafts. When they grow large enough, they fall as rain or snow, returning the water to the surface to begin the cycle again. This is the water cycle, one of Earth's most elegant systems. Water evaporates from the oceans, lakes, and rivers, rises into the atmosphere, forms clouds, falls as precipitation, and flows back to the sea. Along the way, it nourishes plants, fills rivers, carves landscapes, and sustains all living things. Every drop of water on Earth has been cycling through this process for billions of years. The water you drink today may once have fallen as rain on ancient forests, flowed through the veins of dinosaurs, frozen in ice age glaciers, or drifted as mist above primordial seas. You are made mostly of water. Your body is a vessel carrying this ancient substance, this cosmic traveler, through one brief moment in its endless journey. Rest in that knowledge. You are part of something vast and timeless. The Earth spins once every 24 hours, creating the rhythm of day and night. This rotation is slowing down very gradually as the gravitational pull of the moon creates friction in Earth's oceans and crust. Billions of years ago, when Earth was young, a day was only a few hours long. The planet spun much faster then, but the moon's influence has been slowing it down ever since, lengthening the day by about 1 second every 50,000 years. In the distant future, if the Earth and Moon last long enough, the day will eventually become as long as the lunar month. Earth will keep the same face toward the Moon at all times, just as the Moon already keeps the same face toward Earth. But that won't happen for billions of years, long after the Sun has swelled into a red giant and consumed the inner planets. For now, the Earth spins, and the rhythm of day and night continues, steady and reliable, a metronome for all of life. The moon itself is Earth's companion, a partner in the dance through space. It's the fifth largest moon in the solar system, unusually large compared to its orbits. Most moons are tiny compared to their planets, but the moon is about 1/4 the diameter of Earth. This has led scientists to wonder how it formed. The leading theory is that early in Earth's history, a Mars-sized planet collided with the young Earth in a glancing blow. The impact was catastrophic, vaporizing both the impactor and much of Earth's outer layers. Debris from the collision was thrown into orbit, and over time, it coalesced to form the moon. If this is true, then the moon is made partly of Earth itself, a piece of our world that was torn away and reformed in the sky above. The moon stabilizes Earth's rotation, preventing the planet from wobbling too much on its axis. Without the moon, Earth's tilt might vary wildly over time, leading to extreme climate shifts that could make life far more difficult. The moon also creates the tides, the rhythmic rise and fall of the oceans as the moon's gravity pulls on the water. These tides may have played a role in the origin of life, creating tidal pools where organic molecules could concentrate and interact. At night, the moon reflects the sun's light, casting a gentle glow across the landscape. It's the brightest object in the night sky, a constant presence, a source of wonder and inspiration for every culture in human history. People have told stories about the moon, worshipped it, used it to track time, and dreamed of visiting it. And in 1969, humans finally did, walking on another world for the first time. The moon is slowly moving away from Earth, drifting outward at about 1.5 inches per year. Millions of years from now, it will be noticeably smaller in the sky. But for now, it hangs above us, a quiet companion, a reminder that we are not alone. Let your mind rest like moonlight on still water, soft and silvery and calm. Earth's climate has changed many times over its long history. There have been periods when the entire planet was covered in ice, and others when the poles were warm and green. These changes are driven by many factors: the orbit of Earth around the Sun, the tilt of the planet's axis, the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the arrangement of continents, the circulation of the oceans, even the activity of the sun itself. About 700 million years ago, Earth may have experienced the most extreme ice age in its history. Some scientists believe that the entire planet froze over, a condition known as snowball Earth. Ice covered the oceans from pole to pole, and the surface temperature dropped far below freezing. Life survived somehow, perhaps in pockets of open water near volcanic vents, or deep in the oceans where the ice could not reach. Eventually, volcanoes released enough carbon dioxide into the atmosphere to trap heat and warm the planet again. The ice melted and life rebounded, diversifying into the complex forms that would eventually fill the seas and cover the land. Much more recently, in the span of the last 2 million years, Earth has cycled through a series of ice ages and warmer periods. During the ice ages, massive glaciers covered much of North America, Europe, and Asia. Sea levels dropped as water was locked up in ice, and the climate was colder and drier. Between the ice ages, during interglacial periods like the one we live in now, the glaciers retreated, sea levels rose, and the climate warmed. These cycles are driven largely by subtle changes in Earth's orbit and axial tilt, known as Milankovitch cycles. The shape of Earth's orbit around the Sun changes over time, becoming more or less elliptical. The tilt of Earth's axis wobbles slightly, and the direction the axis points changes in a slope over thousands of years. These small changes affect how much sunlight reaches different parts of the planet at different times of year. And over tens of thousands of years, they can trigger ice ages or warming periods. Humans evolved during these cycles of ice and warmth. Our ancestors adapted to a world that shifted between extremes, learning to migrate, to make tools, to use fire, to cooperate and communicate. The challenges of a changing climate may have helped drive the development of our intelligence and our cultures. Now, in this moment, you rest on a planet that is warm and relatively stable during a brief pause between the great cycles of ice. The Earth holds you gently, as it has held countless generations before you through all the changes and chances of time. Forests cover about 30% of Earth's land surface, and they are among the most important ecosystems on the planet. Trees breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen, storing carbon in their wood and helping to regulate the atmosphere. They create habitats for countless species, from insects to birds to mammals. Their roots hold the soil in place, preventing erosion. Their canopies capture rain and release it slowly, moderating floods and droughts. The largest and oldest trees on Earth are ancient beings, living links to the distant past. The giant sequoias of California can live for more than 3,000 years, their trunks so wide that tunnels have been carved through them. Bristlecone pines growing in the high mountains of the western United States can live even longer. The oldest known bristlecone pine is nearly 5,000 years old. It was already ancient when the pyramids of Egypt were built. It has stood through the entire span of recorded human history, quietly growing ring by ring, year by year. Trees communicate with each other through an underground network of fungal threads called mycorrhizae. The fungi connect to the roots of many trees, forming a web that allows trees to share nutrients and chemical signals. A tree under attack by insects can send warnings through this network, and neighboring trees can respond by producing defensive chemicals. Mother trees, the largest and oldest in the forest, help support younger trees by sending them nutrients through the network. The forest is not a collection of individuals competing for survival. It's a community, interconnected and cooperative, greater than the sum of its parts. Grasslands cover even more of the planet than forests, vast open spaces where grasses and herbs dominate. They go by many names depending on where they are: prairies, steppes, savannas, pampas. These are some of the most productive ecosystems on Earth, supporting enormous herds of herbivores and the predators that follow them. The roots of grasses extend deep into the soil, making them resilient to drought and fire. In fact, many grasslands depend on occasional fires to clear away dead material and recycle nutrients. Deserts, too, have their own beauty and their own forms of life. A desert is defined not by heat, but by dryness. any place that receives less than 10 inches of rain per year. Some deserts are hot, the Sahara in Africa or the Sonoran in North America. Others are cold, like the Gobi in Asia or the polar deserts of Antarctica. Life in the desert is specially adapted to conserve water and survive extreme conditions. Cacti store water in their thick stems. Desert animals are often nocturnal, avoiding the heat of the day. Some plants lie dormant for years, waiting for the rare rain to bring them back to life in a burst of color. Antarctica, the frozen continent at the southern pole, is the driest, coldest, and windiest place on Earth. It holds about 90% of the world's ice, and in some places that ice is nearly 3 miles thick. Beneath the ice is land, an entire continent, hidden from view. If all the ice in Antarctica were to melt, sea levels around the world would rise by more than 200 feet. Even in Antarctica, life persists. Penguins breed on the coast, seals rest on the ice, whales feed in the surrounding seas. Tiny creatures called tardigrades, or water bears, can survive frozen in the ice for years, reviving when conditions improve. Microbes live in pockets of liquid water beneath the ice, isolated from the rest of the world, thriving in complete darkness. Life is tenacious. It finds a way, even in the harshest places, even where it seems impossible. Breathe softly. Rest in the knowledge that life is all around you, resilient and enduring, woven into every part of this world. You are part of that tapestry, a thread in the great pattern connected to everything that has ever lived. Earth's biosphere, the sum of all life on the planet, is a thin film clinging to the surface. Life exists in the oceans, on the land, in the soil, in the air, even miles beneath the ground in cracks in the rock. But almost all of it is concentrated in a narrow zone where conditions are just right, not too hot, not too cold, with access to water and energy. The total mass of all living things on Earth, the biomass, is surprisingly small compared to the planet itself. If you could gather up every plant, animal, fungus, and microbe and put them on a scale, they would weigh about 550 billion tons. That sounds like a lot, but it's only about 1/10,000,000th of the mass of the Earth. We are a delicate film, a whisper of life on the surface of a vast and ancient world. And yet, despite our small mass, life has had an enormous impact on the planet. Life created the oxygen in the atmosphere. Life shaped the soil. Life moderates the climate, influences the chemistry of the oceans, and even affects the geology of the Earth and life have evolved together, each shaping the other, in a process that has been unfolding for billions of years. Some scientists call this the Gaia hypothesis, the idea that Earth functions almost like a single living organism, with life and environment so interconnected that they form a self-regulating system. Whether or not the Earth is truly alive in any meaningful sense, it's clear that life is an active participant in shaping the world. You, too, are. Every breath you take, every move you make, every thought and dream and action is part of the ongoing story of life on Earth. You are not separate from the world. You are the world, experiencing itself, exploring itself, discovering itself through your unique perspective. Rest now. Let yourself be held by the great web of life, by the earth that sustains you, by the universe that brought you into being. The earth is tilted on its axis by about 23.5 degrees, and this tilt is the reason for the seasons. As the earth orbits the sun, different parts of the planet are tilted toward or away from the sun at different times of year. When the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun, it's summer there and winter in the southern hemisphere. 6 months later, the situation reverses. At the equator, the tilt makes less difference. The sun is always high in the sky, and the temperature remains fairly constant year-round, but at higher latitudes, the seasons are pronounced. In the far north and far south, summer brings months of continuous daylight, while winter brings months of continuous night. The changing seasons have shaped life in profound ways. Plants and animals have evolved strategies to cope with seasonal changes in temperature, light, and food availability. Some animals migrate, traveling thousands of miles to follow the seasons and find better conditions. Birds fly from the Arctic to the tropics and back again each year. Monarch butterflies migrate from North America to Mexico. Wildebeest follow the rains across the African savanna. Other animals hibernate, slowing their metabolism and sleeping through the cold months when food is scarce. Bears, ground squirrels, and many other mammals enter a state of torpor, living off stored fat until spring arrives. Some frogs and turtles can even freeze solid and thaw out unharmed when the weather warms. Plants, too, have their strategies. Deciduous trees drop their leaves in autumn, conserving energy through the winter. Evergreen trees keep their leaves, which are specially adapted to survive cold and snow. Annual plants die after one growing season, leaving seeds to sprout the next year. Perennial plants die back to the ground but grow again from their roots when conditions improve. The rhythm of the seasons is one of the fundamental patterns of life on Earth. It's written into the biology of countless species, including our own. Even in the modern world, where we can control the temperature and light in our homes, we still feel the pull of the seasons, the ancient rhythms that connect us to the turning of the earth. Let yourself relax into that rhythm now. There's no need to resist or to hold on. Just let yourself be carried gently, like a leaf on the wind, drifting through the cycles of time. Deep beneath the surface, in the crust and mantle of the earth, there are forces we can only glimpse through their effects. Earthquakes shake the ground when stress builds up along faults and is suddenly released. Volcanoes erupt when molten rock from the mantle forces its way to the surface. Both are reminders that the earth is not a dead, inert ball of rock. It's a dynamic, active world, still hot and restless from its fiery birth. Most earthquakes are small, barely noticeable. Thousands of them happen every day, but some are powerful enough to reshape the landscape, to level cities, to trigger tsunamis that race. The largest earthquakes release energy equivalent to thousands of nuclear bombs, yet even that is a tiny fraction of the energy stored in the slow motion of the tectonic plates. Volcanoes are both destructive and creative. They can bury entire towns in ash and lava, but they also create new land, build mountains, and enrich the soil with minerals. Volcanic eruptions have triggered mass extinctions in the past, but they have also played a role in sustaining life by releasing gases that replenish the atmosphere. The largest volcanic eruption in recent history was Mount Tambora in Indonesia in 1815. The eruption was so massive that it ejected vast quantities of ash and sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere, where they spread around the globe and reflected sunlight back into space. The following year, 1816, was known as the Year Without a Summer. Snow fell in June in New England, crops failed across Europe and North America, and temperatures dropped worldwide. It was a reminder of how connected the Earth's systems are, and how a single event on the other side of the world can affect the entire planet. Today, scientists monitor volcanoes and earthquakes closely, trying to predict when and where they will occur. We have learned a great deal, but the Earth still holds its secrets. There is much we do not understand, much that remains mysterious and unpredictable. And that's all right. The Earth does not owe us explanations. It simply is vast and complex and utterly itself. We are here briefly to witness and wonder, and that is enough. Let your thoughts settle like ash after an eruption, soft and still. There's no need to understand everything, just rest, and let the world be what it is. Human civilization has left its mark on the earth in countless ways. We have built cities and roads, cleared forests, dammed rivers, dug mines, and reshaped the land to suit our needs. From space, the most visible sign of human presence is the light of our cities at glowing points and webs of brightness scattered across the dark continent. We have changed the composition of the atmosphere by burning fossil fuels, releasing carbon dioxide that had been locked underground for millions of years. We have altered the chemistry of the oceans, making them more acidic. We have driven many species to extinction and spread others far beyond their natural ranges. The impact of human activity is now so significant that some scientists have proposed a new geological epoch, the Anthropocene, the age of humans, defined by the changes we have made to the planet. But humans are also capable of great care and stewardship. We have created protected areas where nature can thrive. We have brought species back from the brink of extinction. We have cleaned polluted rivers and restored damaged ecosystems. We have the knowledge and the tools to live more sustainably, to reduce our impact, to heal some of the damage we have done. The future is not written. The choices we make now will shape the world for generations to come. But whatever happens, the Earth will endure. It has survived asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions. It will outlive, continuing its slow dance long after. It's a humbling one, and perhaps a freeing one. We are part of something much larger and older than ourselves. Our time here is brief, but it is also precious, a chance to experience the beauty and wonder of this world, to contribute what we can, to leave things a little better than we found them. Rest in that thought. You are here now, part of this moment in Earth's long story. That is a gift. The stars above you have been shining for billions of years, and they will continue to shine for billions more. Earth is a small world circling an ordinary star in the outer reaches of an ordinary galaxy. And yet, as far as we know, it is the only place in the universe where life exists. Extraordinary, precious beyond measure. The conditions that make Earth habitable are delicately balanced. We are at just the right distance from the sun, not We have liquid water, a protective atmosphere, a magnetic field, a large moon to stabilize our rotation. We have plate tectonics to recycle nutrients, and a long period of relative stability that allowed life to evolve and diversify. All of these factors had to come together in just the right way. Change any one of them significantly, and Earth might be as lifeless as Venus or Mars. But here we are. Life emerged, evolved, spread across the planet. And eventually, one species developed the ability to look up at the stars and ask, how? What does it all mean? We don't have all the answers. We may never have all the, but we can observe and wonder and appreciate the mystery and beauty of it. We can tell stories like this one, passing down knowledge and wonder from one generation to the. We can explore, both outward into space and inward into the nature of life and consciousness. We can create and love and find meaning in the brief flicker of time we have. The universe is vast beyond comprehension, but you are here, alive, aware, part of it all. That is a kind of miracle. Let yourself drift now, gently, like a seed on the wind, carried by currents you cannot see but can trust completely. The soil beneath your feet is more than just dirt. It's a living ecosystem teeming with organisms. A single handful of healthy soil contains more living creatures than there are humans on Earth. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, earthworms, insects, all working together to break down dead matter, to recycle nutrients, to create the foundation for plant life. Without soil, there would be no forests, no grasslands, no crops. All terrestrial life depends on this thin layer of transformed rock and organic matter. It takes hundreds or thousands of years to form just an inch of soil. Yet it can be washed or blown away in a single season if not protected by plants. Soil is one of Earth's great treasures, humble and easily overlooked, yet utterly essential. It connects the living and the non-living, the organic and the mineral, the past and the future. Every plant that grows draws nutrients from soil that contains the remains of countless generations of life that came before. You, too, are made of recycled matter. The atoms in your body were once part of ancient sea primordial rocks. You are old beyond imagining, and yet entirely new, a unique arrangement that has never existed before and will never exist again. Breathe that in. You are stardust and seawater, sunlight and soil, gathered together for this brief moment of awareness. Rivers carve their way across the landscape, seeking the lowest path, always flowing toward the sea. They begin as tiny trickles high in the mountains, fed by rain and melting snow. As they flow downhill, they merge with other streams, growing larger and stronger. They shape the land, cutting valleys, depositing sediment, creating floodplains. The Amazon River in South America is the largest river by volume, discharging more water into the ocean than the next 7 largest rivers combined. It drains a basin that covers about 40% of the South American continent, flowing through rainforests so vast and dense that they produce 20% of the world's oxygen. The Nile, longest river in the world, flows northward through northeastern Africa for more than 4,000 miles. For thousands of years, it has been the lifeblood of Egypt, flooding annually and depositing rich silt on the surrounding land. making agriculture possible in the midst of the desert. Rivers are pathways for life. Fish migrate up them to spawn. Birds follow them on their migrations. Humans have built civilizations along their banks, using them for water, transportation, power, and food. Rivers connect the mountains to the sea, the land to the ocean, in an endless cycle of flow and return. Let your mind flow like a river, easy and unhurried, following the natural contours of thought, moving always toward rest. Lakes are pockets of stillness in the landscape, places where water gathers and waits. Some lakes are ancient, millions of years old. Lake Baikal in Siberia is the deepest lake on Earth, containing about 20% of the world's fresh surface water. It's also one of the oldest, formed in a rift valley more than 25 million years ago. Its depths are home to species found nowhere else on Earth, creatures that have evolved in isolation for countless generations. Other lakes are young, formed by retreating glaciers or volcanic eruptions or landslides that dammed a river. Some lakes are temporary, filling with water during the rainy season and drying up completely when these ephemeral lakes are harsh environments, but life adapts. Certain fish and crustaceans have evolved to survive in eggs or cysts during the dry period, hatching rapidly when the water returns. Lakes can be fresh or salty. The Great Salt Lake in Utah is saltier than the ocean, too salty for most life, though brine shrimp thrive in its waters. The Dead Sea between Israel and Jordan is even saltier, so dense that you can float on its surface without effort, held up by the mineral-rich water. There's something peaceful about a lake, a sense of containment and calm. The water reflects the sky, doubling the world, creating a mirror image that seems almost dreamlike. At dawn and dusk, when the air is still, a lake becomes a perfect reflection, and it's hard to tell where the water ends and the sky begins. Rest now, like still water at twilight, calm and clear, reflecting the last light of day. Caves extend deep into the earth, hidden chambers and passages carved by water over millions of years. In limestone regions, slightly acidic rainwater seeps through cracks, slowly dissolving the rock and creating underground voids. Over time, these voids can grow into vast caverns, adorned with stalactites hanging from the ceiling and stalagmites rising from the floor. These formations grow incredibly slowly, perhaps an inch every 100 years, built up drop by drop as mineral-rich water evaporates and leaves behind tiny deposits of calcite. Some caves contain formations that have been growing for hundreds of thousands of years, silent sculptures in the darkness, shaped by time and patience beyond human comprehension. Caves are home to specialized creatures that have adapted to life in perpetual darkness. Cave fish have lost their eyes and their pigmentation, navigating by sensing vibrations in the water. Cave salamanders, crickets, and spiders have evolved in similar ways, becoming pale and sensitive, perfectly suited to their lightless world. Humans have used caves for shelter since prehistoric times. The walls of many caves bear paintings made by our ancestors tens of thousands of years ago, images of animals and handprints and abstract symbols. We don't know exactly what these paintings meant to the people who made them, but they speak to us across the ages, proof that humans have always sought to make meaning, to create beauty, to leave a mark that says, "I was here." The earth is full of such hidden spaces, secret chambers and forgotten corners, where beauty and life persist away from the sun. Not everything needs to be seen to exist. Not everything needs to be understood to be valuable. Let go of the need to see everything, to understand everything. Rest in the darkness behind your closed eyes, a safe and gentle darkness where dreams begin to form. The atmosphere glows with phenomena we don't often notice. Air glow, a faint emission of light from atoms and molecules, creates a subtle luminescence in the night sky, too dim for our eyes to perceive without instruments, but always there. During meteor showers, when Earth passes through streams of debris left behind by comets, tiny particles burn up in the atmosphere, creating streaks of light across the sky. Most are no larger than grains of sand, yet they create brilliant flashes as they vaporize in the friction of their passage. Lightning illuminates storms from within, a discharge of electrical energy built up by the motion of ice crystals and water droplets in the clouds. A single bolt of lightning can heat the air to temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun, causing it to expand explosively and create thunder. Lightning strikes Earth about 100 times every second, 3 to 4 million times a day, a constant crackling conversation between the sky and the ground. Rainbows appear when sunlight passes through water droplets in the air, splitting into its component colors and reflecting back to our. Each observer sees their own unique rainbow, created by their particular angle to the sun and the rain. No two people ever see exactly the same rainbow. It's a personal gift from the physics of light and water, a moment of beauty that exists only for you. All of these phenomena are reminders that the atmosphere is not empty space. It's a dynamic medium full of energy and motion and light, constantly interacting with the earth below and the sun above. You are breathing that atmosphere now, drawing it into your lungs, exchanging oxygen for carbon dioxide, participating in the great cycle of respiration that connects you to every other breathing thing on the planet. You are not separate from the air. You are part of it, moving through it, made possible by it. Breathe slowly, deeply, peacefully. Each breath is a gift, a connection, a quiet affirmation that you are alive, here, now. Coral reefs are among the most diverse ecosystems on Earth, rivaling rainforests in the sheer number and variety of species they support. They are built by tiny animals called coral polyps, which secrete calcium carbonate skeletons. Over time, as generations of polyps live and die, their skeletons accumulate, forming massive structures that can be seen from space. The Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Australia is the largest coral reef system in the world, stretching over 1,400 miles. It's home to thousands of species of fish, mollusks, crustaceans, sea turtles, sharks, and rays, as well as the corals themselves. The reef is a riot of color and life, a bustling underwater city where every niche is occupied, every surface covered with life. Coral reefs grow slowly, only a few centimeters per year, and they are fragile. They require warm, clear, shallow water and are sensitive to changes in temperature, acidity, and pollution. When stressed, corals expel the symbiotic algae that live in their tissues and give them their color, a process called bleaching. Without the algae, the corals turn white and may die if conditions don't improve quickly. Reefs around the world are under threat from rising ocean temperatures, pollution, and overfishing. But they are resilient too, and with care and protection, they can recover. There are scientists and conservationists working to protect and restore coral reefs, to understand them better, to give them a chance to survive in a changing world. The ocean is full of wonders like this, ecosystems and creatures that most people will never see but that exist nonetheless, contributing to the richness and diversity of life on Earth. Let yourself imagine drifting through a coral reef, weightless and calm, surrounded by color and movement and life, carried gently by the current. The rhythm of the tides is one of the oldest rhythms on Earth, created by the gravitational pull of the moon and, to a lesser extent, the sun. Twice a day the ocean rises and falls, ebbing and flowing in a pattern that has continued for billions of years. The tides create a unique environment where land and sea meet, the intertidal zone, alternately flooded and exposed. Life in the intertidal zone must be able to survive both underwater and in the air, both cool and warm, both wet and dry. Barnacles cement themselves to rocks and close their shells when the tide goes out, waiting patiently for the water to return. Sea anemones withdraw into crevices, conserving moisture. Crabs scuttle between pools. Seaweeds cling to rocks, flexible enough to bend with the waves but strong enough not to be torn away. Tide pools, left behind when the tide recedes, are miniature worlds, isolated pockets of seawater where fish, crustaceans, starfish, and urchins wait for the tide to return. Each pool is a small ecosystem, complete in itself for a few hours, until the ocean flows back in and reconnects it to the larger whole. The tides have always fascinated humans. We have tracked them, predicted them, adapted our lives to it. Coastal peoples around the world have developed deep knowledge of tidal patterns, knowing when to fish, when to gather shellfish, when to launch boats. The tides are a connection to the moon, a tangible reminder that we are part of a larger system, influenced by forces beyond our world. Even now, lying here, you are being gently pulled by the moon. The effect is too small to feel, but it's there, a subtle tug on the water in your body, a connection to the cosmic dance of Earth and moon. Rest in that connection. You are held by gravity, by the Earth, by the presence of the moon above. You are safe, supported, part of the great pattern. Earth's history is punctuated by extinction events, times when a large percentage of life on the planet disappeared. The most famous is the extinction that ended the age of dinosaurs 66 million years ago, likely caused by the impact of a large asteroid in what is now Mexico. The impact threw up vast quantities of dust and debris, blocking sunlight and causing temperatures to plummet. Plants died, food chains collapsed, and about 75% of all species went extinct, including all non-avian dinosaurs. But life recovered. It always had. After every mass extinction, the surviving species diversified, filling the empty niches, evolving into new forms. The extinction of the dinosaurs made room for mammals to flourish, and eventually, for humans to evolve. We live in a time shaped by past extinctions, standing on the shoulders of countless species that came before us, adapted, struggled, and we carry forward the legacy of all that evolutionary history in our bodies, in our DNA, in the structures and systems that keep us alive. You are the result of an unbroken chain of survival stretching back billions of years. Every one of your ancestors, from single-celled organisms to fish, to amphibians, to reptiles, to mammals, to primates, survived long enough to reproduce. You are the latest expression of that long journey, and you carry within you the potential to continue it forward. That's a profound thought, but you don't need to hold on to it. Just let it wash over you, gentle and reassuring, a reminder of your place in the great story of life. Clouds drift across the sky in an endless procession, each one unique, each one temporary. They form and dissolve, merge and separate, change shape and color with the changing light. Watching clouds is a meditation in impermanence, a reminder that nothing stays the same, that everything is always in motion, always becoming new. There are many types of clouds classified by their altitude and appearance. High cirrus clouds made of ice crystals form delicate white streaks across the sky. Mid-level altocumulus clouds look like cotton balls or fish scales. Low stratus clouds form gray blankets that cover the sky. Cumulus clouds are the puffy white clouds of fair weather, while towering cumulonimbus clouds bring thunderstorms. Clouds are beautiful, but they are also functional. They regulate Earth's temperature by reflecting sunlight back into space and by trapping heat radiating from the surface. The balance between these two effects determines whether a cloud warms or cools the planet, and it varies depending on the type and altitude of the cloud. Fog is simply a cloud at ground level, formed when air near the surface cools to its dew point and water vapor condenses into tiny droplets. Walking through fog is like walking through a cloud, surrounded by moisture, vision limited, sounds muffled. It creates a sense of mystery and enclosure, as if you've stepped into another world. Let your thoughts become like clouds, drifting and shapeless, soft and insubstantial. You don't need to grasp them or hold them. Just watch them pass, gentle and quiet, dissolving into the vastness of the sky. The concept of deep time, the vast stretches of geological and evolutionary history, is difficult for the human mind to grasp. We live such short lives, measured in decades, and our recorded history spans only a few thousand years. But the Earth has been here for 4.5 billion years, and life has existed for most of that. To put it in perspective, imagine compressing Earth's entire history into a single year. The planet forms on January 1st. Life appears sometime in February. For most of the year, life remains microscopic. Multicellular life doesn't appear until November. Dinosaurs emerge in mid-December and go extinct on December 26th. All of human history, from the first stone tools to the present day, occurs in the last hour of December 31st. We are so recent, so fleeting, And yet we are here, aware of our place in this immense story. That awareness is itself remarkable, perhaps unique in the known universe. The Earth has seen ice ages and warm periods, asteroid impacts and volcanic eruptions, the rise and fall of countless species. And through it all, life has persisted, adapted, evolved. The planet is patient and resilient, capable of absorbing shocks and recovering given time. Time is the one thing the Earth has in abundance. It stretches out behind us deep and it stretches ahead into an unknowable future. We inhabit just this one tiny moment, this narrow slice of now, balanced between past and future. But this moment is all we ever really have. And it is enough. Right here, right now, you are alive, aware, part of the unfolding story. That is a gift beyond measure. Let yourself settle into this moment. There's nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need. Just be here now, present and at peace. The night sky above you is filled with light from distant stars, light that has traveled for years or centuries or even millennia to reach your eyes. When you look at the stars, you are looking into the past, seeing them not as they are now, but as they were when that light began its journey. The nearest star to Earth, other than the Sun, is Proxima Centauri, about 4 light years away. The light you see from it left that star 4 years ago. Other stars are much farther. Some of the faint stars visible to the naked eye are hundreds of light years away, and the light you see from them left before your great-great-great-grandparents were born. The ground beneath your feet is always moving. You would never know it just by standing still. The movements are too slow, too subtle, measured in millimeters per year rather than steps per second. But they are there, constant and patient, reshaping the world grain by grain, atom by atom, in a transformation that never stops. Erosion is one of the Earth's most persistent forces, wearing away even the hardest stone given enough time. Water is the primary sculptor, carving channels through rock, dissolving minerals, carrying sediment from high places to low. A river flowing over stone will gradually cut deeper, forming a channel, then a gorge, then a canyon. The Grand Canyon in Arizona is a testament to this process, a mile-deep gash in the Earth's surface carved by the Colorado River over millions of years. The layers of rock exposed in the canyon walls tell a story stretching back nearly 2 billion years, each layer a page in the book of Earth's history. But water is not the only force at work. Wind, too, shapes the landscape, especially in dry regions where there is little vegetation to hold the soil in place. Sand grains carried by the wind act like tiny chisels, wearing away rock surfaces, carving strange and beautiful formations. In some deserts, wind has sculpted the rocks into arches and pillars, hoodoos and balanced stones, forms that seem almost impossible, defying gravity and logic. Ice is perhaps the most powerful sculptor of all. Glaciers, vast rivers of ice flowing slowly downhill, grind away everything in their path. They carve U-shaped valleys, scoop out bowl-shaped cirques in mountainside, and leave behind debris in long ridges called moraines. During the Ice Ages, when glaciers covered much of North America and Europe, They reshaped entire continents, scraping away soil and rock, creating the Great Lakes, countless other features that define the landscape today. Even plants contribute to erosion in their own way. Tree roots work their way into cracks in rocks, and as they grow, they pry the rocks up. When the tree dies and decays, the broken rock is more vulnerable to further weathering. Lichens, tiny organisms that are part fungus and part algae, grow on bare rock surfaces and slowly dissolve the minerals, creating the first thin layer of soil that allows other plants to take. All of this happens so slowly that you could watch a single spot for your entire lifetime and see almost no change. But zoom out, look at the span of thousands or millions of years, and the earth is in constant motion, constantly renewing itself, constantly creating new forms and destroying old ones. There is something deeply peaceful about this understanding, but about knowing that change is the fundamental nature of the world. Nothing is permanent. Nothing lasts forever. Even the mountains, which seem so solid and eternal, are temporary, destined to be worn away and replaced by new mountains in a cycle that has repeated countless times throughout Earth's history. You too are temporary, a brief arrangement of matter that will eventually return to the Earth and be remade into something else. That's not a sad thought. It's simply the way things are, the way they have always been. You are part of the cycle, part of the great flow of energy and matter through time. Let that thought bring you comfort rather than anxiety. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to preserve forever, just this moment and the next, and the quiet passage of time carrying you forward. The soil beneath you is a mixture of broken rock, decayed organic matter, water, and air. It's one of the most complex substances on Earth, home to an astonishing diversity of life. A teaspoon of healthy soil can contain more microorganisms than there are people on the planet. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, all living their microscopic lives, breaking down dead matter, releasing nutrients, making it possible for plants to grow. Earthworms are among the most important creatures in the soil. They eat dead leaves and other organic matter, digesting it and excreting it as rich castings that improve soil structure and fertility. As they burrow, they create channels that allow air and water to penetrate deeper into the soil. Charles Darwin spent years studying earthworms and concluded that they had done more to shape the history of the world than any other animal. It's a bold claim, but not without merit. Without earthworms and other soil organisms, the land would be barren, unable to support the complex ecosystems we see today. The color of soil tells you something about its composition and history. Red and yellow soils contain iron oxides, rust essentially, indicating that the soil is well drained and has been exposed to oxygen. Black soils are rich in organic matter, the remains of plants and animals that have decomposed over time. Gray soils often indicate poor drainage and low oxygen levels. White or pale soils may be sandy, lacking in nutrients, or heavily weathered by rain in tropical climates. Different soils support different types of vegetation. The rich black soils of the American Midwest, formed from thousands of years of prairie grasses growing, dying, and decomposing, are some of the most fertile in the world. The red laterite soils of tropical rainforests, by contrast, are actually quite poor in nutrients. Most of the nutrients in a rainforest are locked up in the living plants, not in the soil. When the forest is cleared, the soil quickly becomes depleted and unable to support crops. Soil is a non-renewable resource on human timescales. It takes hundreds or thousands of years to form, but it can be destroyed in a matter of years through erosion, overuse, or contamination. Protecting and nurturing soil is one of the most important things humans can do to ensure a sustainable future. But the earth is patient. Even degraded soil can recover given time and care. Plants can take root again, their roots holding the soil in place, their leaves falling and decomposing to enrich it. The earthworms and microorganisms return. Slowly the soil rebuilds itself, layer by layer, season by season. Breathe in that pain. Let yourself relax into the knowledge that healing takes, that recovery is, that even what seems damaged or broken can be made whole again with care, and the seasons march forward in their eternal rhythm, each one a chapter in the year's story. Spring brings new growth, a surge of life as plants wake from winter dormancy and animals emerge from hibernation. The days grow longer, the temperature rises, and the world turns green. Flowers bloom, filling the air with fragrance, and birds return from their winter migrations, filling the trees with song. Summer is a time of abundance, when life reaches its fullest expression. The days are long and warm, and plants grow rapidly, storing energy in leaves, stems, roots, and seeds. Animals raise their young, taking advantage of the plentiful food. Insects buzz and hum, pollinating flowers and feeding on nectar. The world is alive with activity, with growth, with the hum of countless lives unfolding. Autumn brings a shift, a turning inward. The days grow shorter, the temperature cools, and plants begin to prepare for winter. Deciduous trees withdraw nutrients from their leaves, causing them to change color in brilliant displays of red, orange, and yellow before falling to the ground. Animals gather food to store for the winter or build up fat reserves to sustain them through the lean months ahead. There is a poignant beauty to them, a sense of transition, of endings that are also preparations for new beginnings. Winter is a time of rest, of dormancy, of quiet waiting. The world seems to sleep beneath a blanket of snow. Trees stand bare, their sap withdrawn deep into their roots. Many animals hibernate, slowing their metabolism to conserve energy. The landscape is simplified, reduced to essential forms, stark and beautiful in its minimalism. But even in winter, life continues. Evergreen trees keep their needles, photosynthesizing slowly whenever the sun shines and the temperature rises above freezing. Some animals remain active, foraging for food, leaving tracks in the snow. And beneath the frozen surface, in the soil, and in the mud at the bottom of ponds, countless organisms wait for spring, dormant but alive, ready to awaken when the warmth returns. The cycle repeats, year after year, century after century. All was the same, and yet all was slightly different. No two springs are identical, no two autumns exactly alike. But the pattern persists, reliable and reassuring, a rhythm you can count on. Let yourself sink into that rhythm. There is no need to resist the cycles of your own life, the times of activity and rest, growth and withdrawal, fullness and emptiness. All of it is natural. All of it is part of the pattern. The earth teaches patience, teaches acceptance. It teaches that everything changes, and yet the fundamental patterns endure. Life finds a way. The seasons turn. The sun rises and sets. The world continues, vast and ancient and utterly itself, indifferent to our worries but generous in its gifts. You are held by this world, supported by it, nourished by it. Every breath you take, every bite of food, every drop of water comes from the earth. You are not separate from it. You are an expression of it, a way the earth has found to become aware of itself, to experience itself, to marvel at its own existence. That awareness is precious, but it can also be exhausting. Sometimes you need to set it down, to stop thinking and analyzing, and simply be. To rest in the embrace of the world, to let yourself be carried by forces larger than yourself, to surrender to the gentle pull of sleep. The night is deep now, quiet, and somewhere the ocean is breathing, waves rolling onto shore and pulling back, rolling in and pulling back in an endless rhythm, older than memory. Somewhere a river is flowing, carrying water from the mountains to the sea, persistent and patient. Somewhere the wind is blowing through trees, through grass, across open water, touching everything, connecting everything in its invisible embrace. And you are here, part of all of it, resting now, letting go of the day, drifting into the soft darkness where dreams begin to form and thoughts dissolve into images and sensations. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be. Just this moment and the next, and the quiet unfolding of the night around you. The earth spins on, carrying you through darkness toward dawn. But that's still hours away. For now, there is only rest, only peace, only the gentle permission to let everything go and simply be. Sleep is close now. You can feel it at the edges of your awareness, soft and inviting. Let it come. Let yourself drift into it like a leaf falling onto still water, settling gently, peacefully into the depths. The world will be here when you wake. The story will continue. But for now, rest. Just rest. The universe is vast, and the speed of light, though the fastest thing there is still finite. It takes time for light to cross the distances between stars, and so the universe reveals itself to us always in the past tense, a record of what was, not what is. This gives the night sky a kind of timeless quality. The constellations people see today are almost the same as the ones seen by ancient civilizations thousands of years ago. The stars have moved slightly because they are all in motion, but the patterns remain recognizable. The same stars that guided sailors across the Pacific, that inspired myths and stories in every culture, still shine above you now. Humans have always looked to the stars for guidance, for inspiration, for a sense of connection to something larger. The stars are distant and unreachable, and yet they feel somehow close, familiar, like old friends watching over us. You don't need to understand the stars to appreciate them. You can simply look and wonder and feel the quiet awe of being a small part of something so vast and ancient and beautiful. Let that sense of awe fill you, not with tension or excitement, but with peace. You are part of this cosmos, this great unfolding, and there is nothing you need to do but rest and be. The earth spins beneath you, turning you toward the dawn, toward another day. But for now, it's still night, still quiet, still time to rest. The world will be there when you wake. The sun will rise, the birds will sing. Life will continue its patient, persistent dance. You have journeyed through billions of years tonight, from the formation of the planet to the present moment. You've explored oceans and mountains, forests and deserts, the depths. You've remembered that you are made of stardust, that you are connected to every living thing, that you are held by the earth and the cosmos in ways seen and unseen. All of this is true, and all of it will still be true when you wake. The secrets of Earth are not going anywhere. They have waited billions of years to be discovered, and they will wait a little longer. For now, let yourself rest. Let your body sink into comfort, your mind drift into dreams. There is nothing to worry about, nothing to solve, nothing to remember, just this moment and the next, and the quiet passage into. The ocean is still moving, the tide still rising and falling, the wind is still blowing, carrying seeds and clouds across. The rivers are flowing toward the sea, the stars are shining in the infinite dark, the earth is turning steady and sure, carrying you through the night, and you are safe. You are exactly where you need to be. The story of Earth continues with or without your attention, unfolding in its own time, following patterns older than thought. You've listened for a while, and that's enough. Now it's time to let go, to release your grip on wakefulness, to allow sleep to come if it will. There's a comfort in knowing that the world is so much larger than any single moment of worry or fear. Whatever troubles you during the day, the earth has seen greater challenges and endured. The planet has survived asteroid impacts, ice ages, mass extinctions. It has seen species come and go, continents drift and collide, mountains rise and erode away to nothing, and through it all, life has persisted. Life has found a way. Life has bloomed in the most unlikely place, adapted to the harshest conditions, spread to every corner of the planet. You are part of that persistence, that resilience, that quiet determination to continue. Rest in that knowledge. You are stronger than you know, more resilient than you give yourself credit for. You are part of an unbroken chain of survivors, and you carry that strength within you. Let your breathing slow, deep and even. Let your muscles relax one by one, releasing the tension of the day. Let your thoughts grow quiet, settling like snow on a winter night, soft and the earth. It has held every human who has ever lived, every creature that has ever walked or swum or crawled or flown. It holds you now with the same patient care, the same steady presence. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You are surrounded by life, by history, by the quiet companionship of this ancient world. And now, as the night deepens and the stars wheel slowly overhead, it's time to let yourself drift. Time to let the story fade into the background. Time to surrender to the gentle pull of sleep. The universe cradles you. The earth holds you. The night embraces you. Rest now, dear friend. Rest deeply, peacefully, completely. Let the day fall away behind you. Let tomorrow wait on the other side of sleep. For now there is only this, the comfort of rest, the gift of stillness, the gentle darkness that leads you home. Sleep well, dream softly, and know that when you wake, the earth will still be here, turning through space, carrying you forward into another day, another chance, another beginning. For now, though, rest. Just rest. The secrets of earth will keep. They have kept for billions of years, and they will be here when you return. But for now, let yourself go. Let sleep come. You are safe. You are home. Good night.